Guys, what can I say about Muriel? She has been my favorite hero since I first picked up Paragon, and she was my favorite hero when Paragon was cancelled. She's my bae. What do you guys think? Put a rework. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Rework video. I am Sylphin. So, first things right off the bat. One, this is just my idea. Does not represent what Unleashed Games is going to be doing at all in any way. Two, hero passives are coming back, so we have to think of some passives. We have to think of a passive for each hero and something that accentuates their, you know, their kit and their purpose. Three, I like the idea of Paragon mechanics, quest mechanics, where if you do something that defines their core gameplay well and often, then you get rewarded with empowered abilities. So, and four, I believe the hero design is heroes have to be designed around their niche and their theme. They have to serve a purpose in the hero roster. So that has to be there and prominent and prevalent and accentuated. So what is that for Muriel? In essence, because she's a shield hero, she's an anti-burst mobile support. Mobile because of her alacrity movement speed and her ultimate, of course. An anti-burst because of the shields. That's what shields are. If shields last indefinitely, then it's a little bit less, but shields inherently are anti-burst. So, her passive then, if Muriel's shields get broken by damage, if enemy damage overcomes the shields that Muriel puts on people, then residual energy clings to its target, reducing further damage dealt to that target within, I changed it 1.75 seconds, by 8, 12, 16, 20%. So, if you play well and shield the target well, then, well, ideally you don't want them to take damage, but your shields can't mitigate all damage. They can't mitigate all damage. So if the enemy team overcomes your shields and you spread them out, I mean, you only have a few. Then you get that damage reduction after, you know, after burst goes crazy. Because you're anti-burst, if they overcome the shields, you want to mitigate that burst more so. That's their whole purpose. So that passive is there to help against that burst, basically. So, you know, maybe you throw at your alacrity instead of your consecrated ground, let that proc, then put on the consecrated ground, stuff like that. You know, it provides some interesting gameplay options there and interesting gameplay choices. So, alacrity, energy, it's an energy orb that you throw out that shields a target and grants movement speed, decaying over 2 seconds. Lower second cooldown. That's just really solid. She can use it for herself and for allies. Wonderful, really solid ability. That it doesn't need changing. Really, it's fine. Serenity. It's her damage and slow energy blast that damages and slows the target by a percentage for 2.5 seconds, 8-second cooldown. She does need that. She does need something that affects the enemy besides damage. She is a support. She is there for utility. She is a protective. She's not a healer, but definitely damage mitigation. She is a protector kind of support, not necessarily a facilitative support, if you know what I mean. But she still needs something, and there's that slow and a little bit of damage as well. So there you have it. A good point to make is that her hero scalings would be lower. As a support, she would scale very poorly off of damage and better off of mana, per se. Cooldown reduction, stuff like that. Her health and armor, I don't know, better than a caster, maybe a little bit of supports, maybe not, stuff like that. So there is that. Consecrated Ground, her bread and butter ability. Energy bubble that shields allies within it for an amount lasts 3 seconds. After 2 seconds, it explodes, dealing damage like it always has. After simultaneously shielding at least 2 allies 20 times. So, if you even in this video, if you're watching, she actually doesn't. Whoever is playing this Muriel chooses to shield only 1 ally when very clearly able to shield 2. Like even here, she could have walked into it. There's another point where the Murdoch was standing like right beside her, but for some reason she shields just her. Just the Murdoch. Simultaneously shielding more than at least 2 allies 20 times, using it as best as possible. Half of the remaining shield from consecrated ground left on an ally after its duration has expired remains indefinitely. So, if there's remaining shield on an ally that has been shielded by consecrated ground, on its duration, half of any shield that's remaining, and that was the moment I was talking about where she could have shielded 2 people. Half of any remaining shield remains indefinitely. The shield does not stack, but a larger shield will replace the weaker one. It will replace the weaker one. So if you consecrated ground somebody because they were in trouble and they take a whole bunch of damage, then you use your reversal of fortune, which is a much bigger shield, on that target, but they happen to escape. Then half of that larger shield that expires will remain. So does not stack, but larger remaining shields replace weaker ones. 14, 13, 12, 11 second cooldown. So that's her quest mechanic. Really solid, so that people in the late game get a little bit extra value from that shield. That shield though does not proc her passive, so she can't spread shields on every single person on her team, and then when those tiny shields are broken, get 20% damage mitigation. She's not meant as that sort of a support, you know, massive damage mitigation on everybody. It's just the damage mitigation if her ability shields get broken. Does that make sense? There you go. Reversal of Fortune is her ultimate. It's the same. However, people were toying with a stun, with a knock up. What do we do with a slow? I chose to do a knockback. It's the same, except enemies are knocked back 750 units upon landing. Up to 750 units. So if somebody is 700 units away from your target, they get knocked back just to 750. If somebody's right on top of them, they get knocked back to 750. It's a knockback. It's not a stun, it's not a knock up, it's not a slow, it's just a knockback. 750 units. Same cooldown. There's Muriel. She really didn't need much. Passive, super awesome. I love it. Alacrity, solid ability. Serenity, solid ability. Consecrated Ground just had the passive, and her ultimate had the knockback. What do you guys think? Muriel's Bay. She really doesn't need much. I'm looking forward to playing her once again. If I had any suggestions, pardon me, if I had any suggestions for our animators and stuff, it would be, please bring back her travel animation. I believe all travel animations were released with the hero assets. I believe they were. And I believe that when I asked, it wouldn't be too difficult to put hero travel animations onto heroes when they're out of combat. So that it's just a state change. Like when you are out of combat, you just you just naturally your hero animation turns into travel animation, but your base movement speed doesn't. I would say that just because it adds so much to the flavor of to the flavor of gameplay. I don't know, that's really about it. hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys think of my Muriel rework. Please like the video if you like it, dislike, share with the community, of course, guys. Subscribe. Let me know down in the comments if you guys want more of this kind of content. Till next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.